announce this? Oh, I'll go to the end of this one, and then did you start the stream? And then we can get Jeff to go. I'll send him over here to do lights. You're gonna have a good thing. I'm gonna go back to the slide that says like Longwood 23 Showcase, and then the stream one I'll just skip through pretty quick, right? That said the stream will begin at 6, and then just once I can be by Central. It might be a little bit. Number 1. Yeah. Ready? Move his lights, please. Gotta get myself. This is literally almost like class. Well, welcome into the 7th annual Longwood Media Showcase. I'm so happy to be here with you all. I'm too far in front for the camera to celebrate student media. If you recall, many of you know, right? Many of you are out of documentary storytelling class here. This class was my baby 7 or 8 years ago. And I think one of the awesome parts of doing what we do is getting to share with a wider audience, right? You figure a lot of other disciplines out there don't get that benefit here. So it's very awesome to end our semester celebrating you all, the work that you did, and get to showcase this to everybody else here. So before we get into watching the top 3 in 4 different categories, we need to tell you a little bit about who brought this on and give us some thank yous here. So this year we had 33 entries in 4 different categories from 25 people, which was pretty damn cool. What we're going to do here is, again, we had multiple entries. We'll screen the top 3 in each category, and then we will screen the 3 in no particular order. And then after we watched all 3, we'll announce who got 3rd place, 2nd place, 1st place, so on and so forth. The 1st place prize in every category will be a $50 Amazon gift certificate per media piece. So if you do have a partner, you're splitting that bad boy. The 2nd place, we have some comm swag here for the 2nd and 3rd place prizes, and so we will deal with those later on. All of your pieces tonight were watched by a total of 15 judges. And so there's faculty, staff, past winners here, and then some friends of the department here. So let's name them and do some thank yous here in regards to that. The first person who was a judge and co-organized, we need a big round of applause to Mr. Jace Frank there in the back. Obviously a new addition to the community this year, but a great addition, so we welcome him aboard and thank him for his help organizing and judging tonight. And then I'll list off the next round of judges here. You can hold your applause to the end. Our first judge is right there in the back, Mr. Jeff Halliday, Professor Jeff Halliday there. Then we have Dr. Alec Hosterman. We let PR people judge too. We have Dr. Leah Schilling-Stouffer. No idea how she got that job. And Dr. Jake Milne here too, a friend of the department. So let's give all of them a round of applause here. As well as Dr. Wagner here too. And then we had 5 alumni, past winners of the Media Showcase here, who were also able to view your piece. So in person joining us, Mr. Will Johnson there. Woo! And then I believe online, we have last year's documentary winning, Michaela Jennings. So Michaela, thank you very much. And then we also have Liam Wells, TJ Wengert, and Christian Reevestek, who were also able to watch. So thank you all. And then one final judge we need to thank, who has, despite decamping us for greener swamps of Florida, Mr. Clint Wright was also a judge this year, so we'll give a shout out to Clint. So, and of course, we do have to thank our sponsors here. Sponsors number 1, Love Your Longwood Day donors. Without them, the cash prizes and cash bar would not be available, so big shout out to them here. And then finally, the Communication Studies Department for buying all the food. They won't buy drinks, but they'll buy food. So that's not too shabby of a play out. All right, so without any further ado, let's get into this and watch some pieces here. Ooh, oh, hey, there we go. The first category, we are going to watch the top 3, and again, in no particular order, is the promotional categories. These are all pieces that promote an organization, an idea, something along those lines. So again, the top 3 in no particular order will be screened. After each one, I will quickly say who produced it. Then we'll watch all 3 and then bring it back up here and announce our names of our top 3 places in the proper order. So the first one Lights, please.
The Communication Studies Department is actually one.
Challenge at some point or another. I mean, that is what we do here, is challenge you so that you can become your best. And so when you get to that point that you need help, reach out and ask for it, and you will find it.
The advice that I would give to a freshman that's coming into the major is definitely to get involved as soon as possible. If you're wanting to do an internship and you have something that you're interested in, freshman or sophomore year, you should definitely do that because you'll have more on your resume when you're a senior and applying for jobs out of school. And then you'll also just be able to figure out earlier what you like and what you don't like.
The advice I'd like to give students who want to become a comm student plus a PR track is learn to adapt. Come in with lots of ideas, but also practice your writing and your creativity at the same time too.
The digital media concentration really focuses on telling stories. We have a strong journalistic background, so we are training some future journalists, but we're also training content creators, editors, videographers. Really, we want them to be technically competent at telling stories, but also understand the theory that goes behind telling those stories and how those stories can affect people's perceptions and understandings of communication. The studio here is almost a $2 million facility that has 3 cameras that allows us to both record or live stream out. We use it for a lot of different purposes here. We do some live senior streaming research, which to my understanding is we are the only department in the US that has live undergraduate streaming research. We also use it to produce some talk shows as well as creative projects.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of COMMCast.
And student organizations come in here too, as well as individual students that take advantage of the green screen, the lights, the camera setup, the audio board, and all the other facets of the studio.
With a lot of freshmen, you might feel a little out of place when you first come into the digital editing, especially if you haven't done any editing, camera work. It's kind of a lot, but you shouldn't be worried. Everyone else around you has the same experience as you, and we're all brand new to this, and all the professors will help you with anything you need. There's no such thing as a dumb question.
The advice I would give people wanting to add digital media to concentration here is to be prepared to be challenged. A lot of people may come over to comm studies and think, oh, this is an easy major, I just have to talk about it. But I think as any of our students can tell you, this is difficult, this is challenging. We're gonna push you. We're gonna expect the best out of you. But if you rise to the challenge, you will come out of here prepared to take on the world, and you will be successful, I can guarantee that. Let's give it up for welcome to the community.
Lights down still. Thanks, though. Thanks, though. That was produced by Gretchen, Wiggins, Harper, Melton, and Peyton Schaffer. So let's give them a round of applause here. And now, let's move on to the next video in the promotional category. It is. This is so good.
Rugby is power. From the scrum, to lineouts, to tackling, it promotes determination and rewards hard work.
Rugby is acceptance of any and every body type.
Rugby is teamwork. It is building a family and supporting them no matter what.
When we step onto the pitch, nothing else matters except for the game that we love.
Rugby is power. Power for women, power for the team, power for Longwood.
Let's give it up for the Longwood Women's Rugby
Club promo. That was produced by Gretchen Wiggins. Our next video, in our final video, I should say, in the promotional category is
Change was really formed sort of as a response to the lack of response from administration. That frustration amongst the multicultural organizations. We all got together, and then from there we really started to sort of organize together and sort of create procedures, a constitution, things like that.
So I think when we look at what change is in its current iteration, it is a coalition of all of the leadership of the culturally based clubs and organizations. So I think at its focal point, it's meant to be a network of support for all of our culturally based clubs and organizations to kind of be able to bounce ideas off of each other, get that support from one another, collaborate, which is huge.
Change means to me a place that allows for people of different minority groups, as LGBTQ or like a racial minorities. It's a place for them all to come together to enact and make sure that they are represented and that things are great for everyone.
Through the Change organization, this year specifically, we've created a list of 13 demands, which are demands that we would like to see worked on by administration. And these demands cover issues such as the lack of safe spaces for underrepresented populations, the lack of attention to instances of bias or insensitivity in the classroom. Those lists of 13 demands really cover our main objectives and goals that we want to see covered by administration.
Being at a predominantly white institution, sometimes it's hard to find yourself represented in certain areas, especially depending on the major that you're in. So Change just strives to not only help educate the people around us and the people here on campus that want to be educated, but it's also just providing, again, that safe space. A lot of times I know there's this division. There's like, this is them and this is us. But really all we want is for it to all be us, because that's what it is, we're a community.
For students who are interested in change and want to support change, I would say, really pay attention to what we're doing in terms of the list of 13 demands or written statements that we've given to the Board of Visitors and to SGA.
It's great to have students who are not underrepresented students support us, and that's amazing. And we hope that one day every student can recognize that change initiatives are student initiatives. It's not just for change, it's for every single student on this campus.
Participation comes with education. When you participate in these events that we put on, you start to see things that you've never seen before. You start to see the disadvantages that minorities go through, or you see the beauty in our culture that makes you want to keep on educating yourself about this culture, or keep pushing forward for this culture, or anything for this organization.
Being aware of change helps to, me better navigate and find people who I can personally relate to on cultural levels and stuff, and it's just something that it should be cherished on Longwood. It should be appreciated a lot more than it is currently.
I think the main goal of change is just to create a welcoming and safe environment for all students where we all feel welcome and included, and we feel seen and heard.
Community,
humanity,
allyship,
networking,
grace,
equity, change.
That was Longwood Change promotional video produced by Nicole, Ardvino, and Jacob Halloway. And Jenna Lanthom. Woo! Lights, please. Yes, thank you, kind sir. So, our third place winner is Longwood Women's Club Rugby promo video produced by Gretchen Wiggins. Our second place winner is Welcome to the Community, produced by Gretchen Wiggins, Harper, Melton, and Peyton Schaffer. And that means our first place winner in the promotional category for 2023 is Longwood Change promotional video produced by Nicole, Ardvino, Jenna Lanthom, and Jacob Halloway. Now you all have to come up here and talk about it. Congratulations here. You have to talk about it. Job well done here. You can tell us maybe what was your idea of making, what went into making, things like that.
Yeah, so we made this video for our COMMLab Black Project number 2. Shout out to Jeff Halloway. And so yeah, we were interested in highlighting change because we just did an OMA interview with Mr. Jonathan Page of the Office of Multicultural Affairs, and we decided that change is something that he was a part of, so we decided to do that. And we thought it was an important message, especially all the advocacy they've done on campus this year. And so we thought it was an important video to spread what they do and what change can be on campus. Anything else for you guys? Yeah.
Job well done. And this is true to me, the power of student media here, right? You can tell stories because representation matters. And you can tell these stories, you can get them out there, and people can see them, right? This will live on beyond, well, especially the two of you graduating here, right? It'll live on beyond you and live on beyond you here, too. So awesome job. And we want to give one final round to everybody who submitted a promotional video here this year. Beautiful. And we will move on to our next category, which is news. So the news category contained both inverted pyramid style pieces, which you all know and love, and feature style pieces here too. These are of course all video news projects. As always, we will watch the top 3 in no particular order and then announce the rankings after that. So the first video we will watch in the news category is
This past September, Longwood University welcomed a brand new club to campus, the Clay Club. This club is meant to be a break from technology and the stress of classes and hopes to give the students a creative outlet, whether they are art majors or not. Vice President of the club, Audrey explains more details on how exactly this club came to be.
Basically what sparked our whole reason for Clay Club was the ceramics professor here actually went on sabbaticals, and we wanted to be able to have the opportunity to come into the studio and continue working on our own pieces and our bodies of work, and so now we're at Clay Club.
By starting this club, these students were able to keep the doors open to the ceramics studio, and for the first time, they were able to keep them open even further to students who aren't enrolled in a ceramics course.
It's one of those things where it does help you just to sit back and kind of tap into that creative mind. And I think in our lives, I feel like it's very important to have that within people and just kind of learn a new trait, learn something new, do something physical. And I mean, if you get a mug out of it, then that's awesome.
Maggie Dodge, the president of Clay Club, explains how they also provide learning opportunities.
So we do some levels of teaching with anyone that kind of reaches out that says that they want to help learning a different skill or ability. Our ceramic professor, Adam Pollock, as well as Randy Williams, who used to be a professor here, they're both very hands-on and involved.
Colin Gilbert explains how this club differs from the traditional ceramics course.
We made the club for students who are busy and who don't have a lot of time to dedicate, but they can work with their own schedules. So I think that's one of the main reasons people should join Clay Club.
Clay Club's main emphasis is not necessarily on how your pieces look, but more about how they make you feel.
With a lot of forms of art, especially ceramics, you make whatever speaks to you. There's no guidelines. You just come in and you make stuff, and if it looks horrible, that's still art, you know? It can look like whatever it wants to look like. So I feel like it's important that people understand that ceramics isn't a super serious thing. There's techniques that help a lot, but you're coming in to express how you feel, and that's a very individual experience.
This club aims to make a difference around campus and become a safe space for all students to express their creative abilities without the constraints of a syllabus.
Meetings for the Clay Club are held every Tuesday at 6 p.m. in the Bedford Ceramics Studio. This club is completely free of charge and open to any student that is wanting to start practicing ceramics, even if you aren't an art major. This is Vega Overstreet from Communication Studies signing off.
That, of course, was Clay Club, produced by Vega Overstreet here. Our next news package is
Rotunda Studios is an organization that is embedded into the Rotunda newspaper. This subgroup was first started in 2008 by students who wanted to give others a creative outlet through video production. Over the years, Rotunda Studios has been revived multiple times.
There was always people who wanted to do it, but the problem was with most of those people being seniors, they really couldn't
produce the content when they had classes and homework and work and internships. So while it kind of died off production-wise, it's always around inside the office, but there's no one to do the work, so it couldn't be worked on.
The Rotunda recently elected a new executive producer in hopes of generating more content for Rotunda Studios.
A lot of people think that for Rotunda Studios, it has to be done in the studio that we have up at French. That's not true. You could literally make a video on your phone and submit it to the Rotunda to be uploaded on the Rotunda Studios YouTube channel. Since becoming the executive producer this past fall, that's something I've been really wanting to kind of highlight and focus about, because a lot of people have that misconception, and I don't want them to have that. I want them to make content that they want to make, and that they have a place to upload it if they so choose to.
Rotunda member Jenna Lanthom told me about her experience with Rotunda Studios.
When I initially joined the Rotunda, I joined for Rotunda Studios because I joined when I was a freshman, like my first semester right before COVID hit. So I was really excited to start doing that because it was something I was passionate about in high school. So in high school I would always edit videos, so I was like, oh, maybe it would be a good idea to do it here. And then I was talking to Professor Halloway, and he was saying, oh, you should join Rotunda Studios because it's a really good opportunity to just start filming videos and start doing things that you can add to your portfolio.
Rotunda Studios plans to start posting new videos as soon as possible. To get one of your videos posted, contact Lucas Freitas at james.freitas@live.longwood.edu. Reporting live from Farmville, Virginia, I'm Gretchen Wiggins.
Woo! That, of course, was Rotunda Studios, produced by Gretchen Wiggins. All right, let's move on to our third piece in the news category. It is...
Being a Longwood student comes with many perks, but some of those perks can go unnoticed or underappreciated, which is due to students either not utilizing it or simply just not knowing about it. One of the perks that I'm referring to is the ability to reserve almost any on-campus study or event space at the click of a button. But it is also what happens after that click of a button that can be unknown. You may be asking yourself, who is in charge of distributing these spaces and making sure things run smoothly? And to answer that, it is the University Events and Ceremonies Department. Assistant Director of University Events and Ceremonies, Emily Montagna, talks about what the department does and the different ways they support students on campus.
First and foremost, we are a steward of the university, and it's important to us that students know that we are here to support them, as well as faculty, staff, and external guests in the community. We schedule every room that's available for meeting spaces or events, and we also rent out tables, chairs. We do floor plans and setups for anything that approved student organizations need, faculty events, departmental events, staff events.
While the department is able to help students and student organizations plan the events they want to hold, there is also another step involved that helps keep everything organized and in a central place, and that is 25 Live.
25 Live is our event scheduling system, and basically if you are a student organization on campus or faculty or staff, you can go in there, reserve a space for your event, whether that's a meeting, other various signature student events, but you can go in there, reserve a space. If you need any additional resources, you can ask for tables, chairs.
Each academic year, the department is a helpful tool for a large number of events and reservations made by students and faculty members across Longwood's campus. But one thing that Montagna mentioned is that the department does a lot behind the scenes, which means not a lot of students know about them.
Do you know what the Events and Ceremonies Department does at Longwood?
No clue. I do not.
I know they plan graduation and probably convocation and the alumni weekend.
I am assuming planning events for Longwood traditions.
And do you know what 25 Live is?
I do not. Nope.
Yes, that's where you go to schedule an event.
I do not.
And how many events do you think the Events and Ceremonies Department did in 2021?
Probably over 100.
30.
Maybe 15?
Ooh, I would say 25.
Students are unaware of just how much the department does for the university, because the actual number of events from 2021 was 2,041. For more information on reserving spaces, visit Longwood University's homepage and search Events Scheduling to be directed to easy-to-follow instructions. Reporting live from Longwood University, I'm Jenna Lanthom.
That was Longwood Events and Ceremonies package produced by Jenna Lanthom here. So, without any further ado, let's announce the top 3 in the news category. Third place is Welcome to Rotunda Studios, produced by Gretchen Wiggins. Second place is Longwood Events and Ceremonies news package produced by Jenna Lanthom. And that means our winner is Clay Club news package produced by Vega Overstreet. Come on up here, Vega. Tell us a little bit more about the Clay Club and producing this package.
Hey everyone. So basically I came up with the idea about producing this because I took a ceramics class and I dropped it because it was too much work, and then I found out they had a clay club and I thought that'd be so interesting, and I just thought that the visuals were so good, and I'm actually really glad I won something for this because this is the first project I feel like I learned a lot through with just videography and editing. So yeah, thank you.
Quick halfway intermission. If you want some more food and some more beverages here, help yourself. We still do have some money to spend. You see, our leader is leading us, so feel free to help yourselves. Otherwise, I am in trouble. So, and eat the food too. We all paid for that. So, as you venture out there, we will move on to our next category, which is the creative category here. So the creative category is kind of that catch-all category for any crazy wacko ideas out there you want to produce that don't fit into more traditional things here. So we will watch a wide variety of pieces here you'll see in the top 3, and of course we had an even larger variety submitted when people submitted to the creative category. So we will, without any further ado, our lights person is still at the bar, so I have to tell jokes here. Oh, Will's on it. All right, we can move on. Tell jokes. Oh boy, I don't have any jokes ready to go. I'm not a very jokey kind of guy here. I know. We were in trouble. Yeah, let's move on to lights. We got enough of me. So here we'll move on to the creative category. And again, in no particular order, let's watch our first creative piece.
Do you need B-roll for that next COMMLab? We've got that B-roll. Are you not Ryan Fletcher and you haven't attended every event? We've got that B-roll. Are you not Cole Pello and haven't taken photos of every event? We've got that B-roll. Do you need shots of students eating pizza or getting their Starbucks? What about some building signs? We've got that B-roll. Do you need shots of students pressing buttons? What about doing the other things that look techie? We've got that B-roll. Do you need shots of fall on campus or students making random mugs? We've got that B-roll. Do you need a shot of Taylor Reilly IV being inaugurated as the president of Longwood? No! That's not B-roll. That's too specific. Do you need random B-roll shots with the tripod left in the background? What you don't like about the tripod in the background? I just left it there and it was great. Next time you have a comm class project, remember, we've got that B-roll for the low, low price of $19.99. You can have access to all our library B-roll. Call 434-395-2384 today before they sell out. Please call that number.
Let's give it up for We Got That B-Roll, edited by Gretchen Wiggins and produced by the COMMLab Fall Class of 2022. And do call that number. It'll be a fun surprise there when you call that number. Woo! All right, again, in no particular, let's move on to our second in the creative category.
Shit, I'm where I'm from right now with my nigga TP and Hot. Let me talk to him. Yeah. That's where I'm from. Yeah. Okay. Where I'm from is kind of country when you know from facing cases. We all been through the struggle with the hood and all the spaces. If your money don't talk, they just gonna judge about what your face is. I could never call the cops on any ops because they racist. I was wild from PG to Richmond, ended up with 3 tickets. Shit, I had to work because my time won't try to pay no digits. Where I'm from, you can step outside and all you hear is crickets. Where I'm from, nigga be 75, ain't never left the trenches. Rest in peace to Joni B, he died when he was 13. Drug driving, how the hell that happened, he was 13. Switching buses, called my teacher high cause I was in the well. Shit be kinda dangerous and I know they never wishing well. I can feel it in my soul that I'ma make it. I ain't gotta impress nobody cause my niggas really faking.
Let's give it up for Christian Benniefield here. That was, I love your title, Christian. Music video, filmed, directed, edited, special effects, all by Christian Benniefield, aka Ric Flair. But the title is Where I'm From, yes? Yeah, let's give it up for him. Our third piece in the creative category, again in no particular order.
No, you know you're saying it wrong. I feel like you're coming in here saying some dumb just to try and get a rise. Hash brown! Hash brown! You're putting this weird emphasis on it! Did your parents teach you to say some like that?
I'm confused of why you're so interested in how I say a certain word.
Because I feel like it's like a little with you. Everyone's rooting against him. You do this small little that like I feel like it's on everybody's nerves.
Maybe it's just a little that gets on your nerves, so maybe you should check yourself.
No, because I've heard other people in the house say something. You want to come in here and talk?
Hash browns! What the hell is the big deal about pronouncing hash browns? Hash browns. Say that again?
It's always this little weird with him. Because everybody in this house has problems with you. Everyone in this house has problems. I'm done with it.
No, I'm done with it.
Everybody in this house has problems. Everybody
You can't wait 5 minutes. You can't wait 5 minutes for me to do my
Fuck Jeff,
This is part of the show.
Let him do what he wants. Let him say what he
Oh my
wants.
god. Get this camera out my face!
Have you found yourself in a series of unfortunate circumstances? Don't want to get up for school? Try going on your phone. Meeting you don't want to go to? Fuck it. Get on your phone. Party you didn't get invited to? I know the feeling. Get on your phone. Make yourself feel better. You ever seen someone you know rapidly approaching? Your telephone is a good answer. Pick up that phone. Stuck behind some bozo at the supermarket? You know the answer. Get on that cell phone. Board in class? Come on, you haven't tried going on your phone. And kids, this is a secret tip your parents don't want you to know about. Busted doing something you're not supposed to in your mom's SUV? Just tell them you were on your phone. They'll never know the difference, and neither will the grandma from the crossing walk. Results may vary.
$405 and Libby.
Hey kid, this is some kind of joke to you? I'm sick of it. Sick of people like you trying to ruin the one day a year that I can spend with my family.
It's okay.
I'm trying to do something nice for these kids and you don't understand. You don't understand. You don't respect it.
Merry Christmas.
Well, let's give it up for the Big Show, produced by Audrey, Jacob Halloway, and Gretchen Wiggins. So, lights, oh boy, just can't hire good help anymore these days. Hey, there we go. So, let's announce the winners in the creative category. In third place is Where I'm From, produced by Christian Benniefield. our second place winner in the creative category is We Got That B-Roll, produced by Gretchen in the COMMLab last fall of 2022. The writing of that video was phenomenal too. I don't know who did that. And finally, the first place video in the creative category is The Big Show, produced by Audrey Behringer, Jacob Halloway, and Gretchen Wiggins here. Come on up. Let's give them a big round of applause here. Comedy is not easy, folks. It is not easy. So tell us more about how you were so funny and Jacob's amazing acting job there on Christmas morning.
I'm crying at my own jokes right now. I cannot believe that won something. This is atrocious. But we heard that comedy was hard, and we said, yeah, well, we're gonna try. And man, I can't believe that everybody seemed to like it. Really glad that you did. We cut one bit, and if you want to see the exclusive, let us know. But I was proud of this. I was proud of us for being able to pull comedy off. So thank you, guys. Shout out to Lucas.
Great job, everybody. Again, doing a variety of videos here. So we have come to the point of the evening where we are going to move to the documentary category here. I do want to preface this a little bit before we get into the documentary category here. As many of us saw throughout the semester, this is not easy, right? One of our subjects in Vega's piece talked about how people just think you point a camera and press the button and you make magic happen. As you all know who have been through this process, this is not an easy thing to do here. So first of all, I want you all to give yourself a round of applause for completing a full or a 7-minute documentary here throughout this course of the semester. So let's give a round of applause to ourselves here all in COM 445 digital storytelling here. Right, because we all know how much work goes into this here, right? And we all know that you have to deal with me critiquing and picking apart every single bit of your documentary routinely. So sadly, I wish we had more time to show more of these here. We will watch the top 3. We have a couple honorable mentions, but we'll see the full trailers here too. There's many more deserving entries here, and even if we don't get to watch your piece tonight, you should be still very, very extremely proud of yourselves here, because we do know how much work goes into all of this here, right? And how you've spent the entire semester working on this project here. And so this is the fun capstone of that. So without any further ado, we are going to watch our 2 honorable mentions here. We will watch the trailers for those. So in no particular order, we will watch our first honorable mention in the 2023 documentary category.
So I downloaded Tinder as a way to just kind of get a little validation, talk to some people, see what was going on.
Have you ever thought about the way hookup culture has changed in the past 10 years? Or even better, have you ever thought about how the perception of hookup culture has changed within society and the minds of the younger generations taking part?
We use dating apps and we use hookup culture, and that's how we meet people. But I think just because we've accepted it doesn't mean it's like a positive thing.
Because like I said, it just raises anxiety levels up significantly. And if someone's looking for an actual long-term relationship, with all this hookup culture around them, they're going to be scared to think that everyone around them is not looking for a relationship or commitment.
Hookup culture and online dating apps give people newfound opportunities to meet people that they never would have met organically. And while I never personally found love or commit a relationship on any of these dating apps, I did find myself, and I think that's even better.
That was Hookup Culture, for Better or for Worse, produced by Jenna, Lanthom. And of course, you can find all these full documentaries on YouTube here, and you can watch them at your own leisure. The next one in our honorable mention category is...
It's an experience to come to Dawson. You come in, you're having an experience. Like, you get to go and pick up a game from the wall over here, or on the wall, or like pick up a figure, and then you could go and hit the arcade. It's a super one-of-a-kind experience here in Richmond.
Moon is a record store, video store, a place to experience pinball, a clothing store. It's really like a lifestyle shop. We carry vinyl, we carry video, we carry apparel. You can play pinball here, but it's something that started as a record store that became much more.
That was Between the Moon and the Stars, produced by Lucas Freitas and Gretchen Wiggins here. So we'll move into our top three here. And again, I do want to stress how much work went into all these, whether we watched them or not tonight, and how proud I am of you all and how proud of yourselves you should be here. So in our top three, again, in no particular order, let's watch our first piece.
This overwhelming feeling that artists can face, wanting to be perfect.
There does come a lot of mental challenges because we're in our heads all the time. I had to learn to be proud of my own work.
It is not as easy as you think it is.
Being able to express those emotions into a paint.
It is a hard world out there, and especially for artists.
Really understand the labor that went behind it, how time consuming it was.
Learning how much goes behind art. It's made me have so much appreciation for anything anyone makes.
For my art, my art side, I guess I would say, usually focus on Black history or Black empowerment or people of color, and just talking about different stories that most people don't know or won't get told. So I usually focus on that that's what my art usually tends to surround.
I'd say my style of art is kind of like contemporary expressionism and surrealism. I use a lot of symbolism, so trees, symbolizing nature and grounding. A lot of my work recently has this symbolic path that I use that's represented through trees, branches, or an actual path.
I think that I'm still trying to figure out my style. It definitely changes a lot. I just hope to develop a full personal style. I definitely put a lot of my personal experiences into my artwork and whatever's currently happening in my life.
More whimsical. I am not a philosophical person, not to hate on others that are, but throughout my college career, if I've always had an assignment, it was always very goofy. So for example, the birdhouses behind me, they're reflections of my life, but it's nothing very dark and dreary or anything like that. Currently, I am the only jewelry concentration major at Longwood. Within my jewelry work is what I'm focusing on right now. I incorporate rocks and the idea of a concept of a locket and holding on to cherished memories.
My favorite piece, I have, I'd say two. One is, I have this one is based on the Shirley card, which is based off color correcting photos based on skin tones, which is very biased to lighter skin tones.
I knew that it was something I was passionate about, and I didn't want to pursue something that I would hate just because of money reasons.
When I first became interested in photography, I was a freshman in high school, but I wasn't interested in snapping photos. I was just interested in editing photos. My cousin played football for the football team, so I would get his photos that sports people would take, and I would just edit them. And I would have a ball with that, but I never thought nothing more than just edit. But now here we are.
Summer going into my sophomore year to switch my major from psychology to art education. And prior to that, I didn't have really any art experience besides elementary and middle school classes. I didn't take anything in high school. And then that summer, I made my first painting. And then ever since last year with taking art classes, my I guess inspiration for art has just excelled.
I have a few favorites. I've done a couple oil paintings of scenes from Ponyo that I really like. And I also, this semester, I made a multiple canvas set of collages that I really liked.
Despite I feel a lot of people say that it's usually a hard degree for people to support, my parents and my sister's always been #1 cheerleaders. I think at a young age, I was very creative and artsy, and so they were just oh, okay. I mean, you're gonna do art education, go have fun.
Honestly, when I told them what I said I was going to college, but oh, what's your degree? You're gonna do business? And I was gonna be a photographer. They did not like that. They was was like, you don't give a fuck, that's a hobby. I was like, but it could be a job.
They were very supportive, which that was a really big issue for me for a very long time, because it's like living up to their expectations versus my own, and like figuring out what my own expectations for myself were.
When I first told my mom that I was switching to art education, she told me that when I was little I wanted to be an art teacher. So it was interesting to kind of like know that that's always subconsciously been a thought in the back of my mind.
Sadly it's not here, but my favorite piece was probably one of my birdhouses that's in the library currently right now. It's basically representing my grandmother, because my grandmother came from like nothing, and she literally grew up in a shack with, I believe, 7 sisters and brothers.
I think there's a lot of constant pressure to be better than yourself, your peers, from everyone.
It is not as easy as you think it is. Like, just photos in general, people just think you just point and shoot and then you have a photo. There's so much stuff that goes back on the back end that you have to worry about if you want a good photo. You can point and shoot if you want, but I'll guarantee you your photo won't turn out like you thought it would in your head.
Before I even started creating art, I didn't really understand the labor that went behind it, how time consuming it was, the importance of technique, the science behind it. Like, it really opens your mind to this whole other world. So if you aren't an artist, it's honestly harder to understand art.
Like most majors, they can take their homework home. I have to go to the studio. So usually I'm probably here till 12 o'clock almost every night. Some of my birdhouses usually take up to like 3.5 weeks. That's why I'm still constantly in here like 24/7.
For metalsmithing, like, you don't realize how physically demanding and mentally demanding it is. And like, I don't even realize it because of like how much I love like what I'm doing.
I used to beat myself down a lot and be like, this isn't like exactly what I wanted it to be. But now, like, when I'm making something, I'm like, oh, this isn't exactly like the sketch that I wanted. I like kind of embrace that and make it into something else.
I think a lot of like artists and art majors like do experience like depression. Like, the perfectionism can lead into you overworking yourself, then being drained, then possibly falling behind in your classes.
Biggest challenge is just being motivated to stay a student in general. For photography per se, there's a lot of people who have been very successful in photography who haven't got a college degree. So then you wonder, like, do I need a college degree because they're successful and they didn't do nearly half the stuff I did. But like, I don't regret staying because I've gotten opportunities I probably would have never gotten if I did drop out.
It is a hard world out there, and especially for artists, because you have continuous judgment. And the thing is, it's kind of why you're putting your artwork out there.
I think there's this overwhelming feeling that artists can face of like wanting to be perfect and wanting to strive to be like the best, and worrying that what you're creating isn't enough or that you're not good enough. Because I feel like you can spend so much time on a piece and pour like your heart out and you're all into it, and then a lot of times not be satisfied with how it is in the end.
And so like, we didn't have air conditioning for a long time. We didn't have like vent system. Like, we're still struggling with the vent system. For this specific studio, it's extremely dangerous. You know, like, the community is very passionate about their work. And so a lot of us are willing to kind of like not care and just do what we love anyway.
My favorite piece that I've ever made, I probably have two. The first one that I'll talk about was my impermanence piece that I had to do for an exercise, and that was my coffee painting. It was like a self-portrait of me showing different parts of my body to like express my femininity and being comfortable within my body.
I've been able to like discover a lot about myself through painting, and when I'm in like hard times or I'm in a rut, just like picking up a paintbrush has really helped me get out of those situations. I'm the one that like doesn't talk about my emotions with other people. Like, I just don't like it. So being able to like express those emotions into a painting is just really therapeutic. I can go through hard times just by expressing those emotions and what I'm doing.
I feel like I've been able to do a lot of healing through my work because it does develop that sense of like self-expression, not through words, but through creating. And a lot of my work is based off of like my high subconscious thoughts. Sometimes your repressed feelings or emotions will appear through your art without you even realizing it. And then once you look back on the piece, you're able to like tell why you added this certain thing and how it like helped you move through certain things in your life.
This studio specifically, this is my safe space. And I actually didn't really realize that until recently. The days that you just don't want to do anything, you just want to lay in bed, you just, you know, like when you are going through like extremely like depressional states, just being in here has really helped me a lot.
I think it's important because it's important to me. It won't hurt me if someone else doesn't care about my artwork or if they don't approve of it or anything. It's more of just like, this is my work, I made it, I took all this time, I spent my nights till 12 o'clock at night working on it. I'm like, that's work I did. I'm like, I'm proud of it.
I think that my art's important because it's real and it forms like a sense of connection with other women, honestly, in their 20s. It's a way of like expressing myself and having that sense of like rawness that other people can relate to.
It's just telling that story that doesn't get told. Honestly, just being able to teach people something new through art, I think it's a pretty cool vessel to use just to tell different stories and different scenarios and situations that I may endure and people who look like me may endure.
I think that art's necessary for the community because it helps to show life for what it actually is.
World without art is just like, kind of like the Wizard of Oz. Like, it's the part where like there's just all gray, it's no color.
Let's give it up for Vega Overstreet. Behind the Art, produced, direct, and edited by Vega here. Let's move on to the next one in our documentary category. Again, in no particular order, it is
This overwhelming feel.
We start this half hour with the impact the coronavirus could have in the sports world.
It was an international pandemic, and who plans for a pandemic, right?
In the long run, it was not worth it to me.
I experienced a lot of burnout.
I think it's very special that I could be a part of it.
It kind of makes it a no-brainer for me to stay here for my 5th year and get better.
I'm kind of ready to move on, graduate, and start the next chapter of my life.
I really didn't know what to do, but it was a really difficult decision, and I was confused.
Should I stay or should I go?
My name is Caroline Hampton. I play field hockey and I'm not taking my 5th year.
My name is Fleur Scheize, and I'm not taking my 5th year.
I'm Mackenzie Ringer. I play softball, and I am taking my 5th year.
I am taking my 5th year.
I am taking my 5th year.
Hi, I'm Harper Melton. I'm on the lacrosse team, and I'm not taking my 5th year.
I'm not taking my 5th year.
I'm not taking my 5th year.
The breaking news, stay at home. That is the order tonight from 4 state governors as the coronavirus pandemic spreads.
I remember we had like run group the next day and we all got that email saying like, school's closed for a week, and like we literally threw a party because we were like, no run group. But then we got sent home and like never came back. So that really sucked.
When we found out about COVID, we were actually planning a week later, we were going to Mexico. So it was a big bummer to hear that season was canceled and everything. And then later, of course, we learned that we got that extra year.
The NCAA has restored a year of eligibility. The Division I Council concluded that student athletes in spring sports should be granted an additional year to participate.
Today, the NCAA Board of Directors voted to give fall sport athletes an extra year of eligibility, regardless if they get to compete at all this year.
It was kind of out of the ordinary. Like I remember when they like sent the message out, like I was just going on a walk and I look at my phone and I see, oh look, like we get another year of eligibility. And
So I thought about taking for a little bit. At first, I thought I wanted to do an MBA, like in marketing here. And then I kind of thought about it a little bit more. and I was like, I need professional experience because I haven't really had anything to build any type of resume other than playing field hockey, which like is good, but I don't have like work experience.
So I'll be doing grad school in Amsterdam. I believe I just had to go home and do grad school and get my degree there too. So I have a 4-1 and a degree from Amsterdam.
I've always considered taking a 5th year. I'm coming to senior year though, and after doing my internship this past summer, it kind of gave me a glimpse into like the working world, and I was really excited to start working in the world for after college. And I think having that under my belt kind of persuaded me not as much to take my 5th year. I think it's a good time to move on. Although I love the sport that I play, that's kind of how I decided not to take a 5th year, because I want to go into, start working, start making money.
I feel very lucky for this opportunity because having experienced 2 years at a university where I was extremely unhappy and I felt like 2 years of my eligibility were wasted, being given that extra year of eligibility really made me feel more confident in my decision to enter the transfer portal and find a new place. And that's where finding Longwood, you know, when I first came here initially, that's all I wanted to do was to take my 5th year here. Your decision can change, and it's okay that it changes, and you shouldn't feel that pressure that I made this transfer and I need to take this 5th year, because it's just not what's right for me, and I know that, and my family knows that, and I just hope other people can understand that.
So I'm moving to Tampa to be a police officer, and it was really like a last-minute decision. Kind of came to that conclusion over the summer. Worked down in Tampa with the police department. Really fell in love with it, and I think right there, that was what sealed the deal. Golf has always just been a means of providing an education for myself. So I've gotten my education. I'm graduating with 2 degrees, and I don't need any more school, so it kind of feels like I would be just a year in limbo.
When I first got the news of COVID and all that, and you know, everything happened, everything shut down, you know, I was definitely really concerned about getting that extra year, especially as a freshman athlete who had played only about half a season, didn't get the chance to do postseason stuff. So it's really important for me that I got that and at least had the option to use it. I think, you know, taking a 5th year and having the opportunity to just be in this building, which is magnificent, and on the courses we have and traveling to the great tournaments, it's just kind of like made it a really easy choice. Not really even a thought in my head to not take my 5th year once I got here.
I've decided to take my 5th year elsewhere, not at Longwood. Once they told us we had another season, I was really happy because I'm really passionate about my sport and I want to keep playing at a high level. I'm really happy that the NCAA has decided to give us another year to play.
My thought process was I wasn't going to take my 5th year. I always imagined coming into college just doing 4 years of my sport. A reason why I didn't want to take my extra year is just because, like, I didn't know how my body was going to react with the field that I want to do, because I want to join the FBI, I want to do all that stuff. But the reason why I want to is because I just don't want to live in regret, because I don't want to look back 30 years from now and regret not taking this extra year.
You have to do what's best for you, and you have to put like your mental health first, you have to put your physical health first for the people that play really physically demanding sports.
It's definitely a toll on your body, I will say that for sure. And I love lacrosse, but I think after like playing it for 4 years in my whole entire life, like I'm kind of ready to move on, but keep like the sport really close to me because I absolutely love it.
I experienced a lot of burnout, especially last year. I went from having a really good fall season into not playing well in the spring, just had a lot of issues that piled up, and that affected my golf. It's a good mental place for me to just, you know, end at my 4 years. I signed up to play 4 years, and I've done that.
I do not want to take a 5th year because I just think it's too much for my body. So I do want to go back home and play, but then just like regular, low level, no requirements, nobody that will tell me what to do or what not to do.
4 years puts a toll on your body, and like in the long run, it was not worth it to me. So I have rheumatoid arthritis, which is like your immune system like attacks your joints, and so physical activity like is hard, but like helps it, and like it helps, but the level of activity makes it worse. And so 4 years was already a lot, and I don't think I could do this spring and next fall.
During practice, when it was COVID, I tore my ACL. So I actually have 2 more years because I have a COVID year and an ACL year. So because of that, I have 2 more years and I'm graduating on time. So I want to kind of expand my mind and go to a different place and experience something new.
This year I broke my foot, so it was kind of a turn in events. So they offered this extra year to me my freshman year, like right after it happened, like after NCAA talked about giving everyone that had their season canceled like a new like kind of like a red shirt type thing.
You get 5 years to play 4. You could have 1 red shirt year where a coach could say, all right, I'm going to bring you in, and if I don't think you're quite ready to play, you can be a member of the team, you practice, you are involved in every other facet of the team except you don't compete.
I wasn't going to take it until I broke my foot, and then I was like, yeah, this is not how I want to go out, and now I'm going to be taking my 5th year.
So I was like thinking about it, and I'm like, I don't think I can, like I shouldn't put my body through that again. And also like mentally, I don't think I can put myself through that again. So ultimately I decided like, I think it's time for me to let it go and just move on. I would have to do it eventually anyways.
We're some of the last people and the only people to get this opportunity. And so it feels wrong to not be taking the opportunity, and it feels like I'm just throwing something away when I'm getting this something that's like free basically. I think it's just what's best for me, and I think that's kind of what everyone else uses in their decision making is their different circumstances, and you know, you shouldn't feel bad if you don't take it, and that's what I've been trying to tell myself.
Ultimately, I would say the fact that I'm going to end on a high note, I'm going to end playing well, because you never know what next season's going to bring. And I have a job lined up after. I'm moving to a pretty cool place. I think that just, it really sets the tone for me not taking it.
You can have a total different college experience than other people, even though it is kind of a 1 in a million chance of like getting that 5th year. I think if you want to take it, go take it. If you don't, you can go start the new chapter.
I think anyone who was given this opportunity of the extra year of eligibility is going to question for the rest of their life whether they made that right decision or not. And I think 20, 30 years from now, these athletes are going to be asking themselves, did I make that right decision, and whether I took it or not? And I think that's something that's going to sit with all of us for the rest of our lives.
Yes, let's give it up for the 5th year, produced by Nicole, Ardvino, and Peyton Schaffer. Oh, we have outtakes.
Wait, let me redo it. Let me not miss the chair. Okay, here we go.
Love the outtakes. One more time, round of applause there for the 5th year. All right, let's move on to our last piece in the documentary category. Again, in no particular order this evening, it is... Oh, one more time.
My great-great-grandfather bought the place in 1861 My great-grandmother was 4 years old.
She continuously lived there until she was 100, 103. She was pretty much in charge of the farm. The husband was busy doing the work in the community, running the tobacco industry. The whole town was founded on tobacco money.
Tobacco correspondence with foreign countries, Norway, Italy, Austria.
And they called him the Baron, Baron Woodson. There's not much history that I know of prior to him getting the land grant to obtain the Harper Hill property.
My great-great-grandfather bought the place right before the Civil War, and it was around 1,300 acres. My great-grandmother was 4 years old, and by the time the Civil War ended, she was 8 years old.
She continuously lived there until she was 97, maybe, no, 100, 103.
Following the war, my great-great-grandfather maintained and kept the farm. He passed away, and by that time, my great-grandmother had married a guy by the name of Walter Gray Dunnington. He took over the ownership and the running of the farm. My great-great-grandfather set up a bank and farm called the Planters Bank. And eventually, my grandfather took that over. Planters Bank was involved in our family until my grandfather died in 1950.
The bank was a conduit for Dunnington tobacco proceeds that, of course, were international, so it would have been important.
Tobacco basically was the foundation of Farmville originally. The Dunningtons were a big part of it.
Watt Dunnington was he was very business savvy, and it's like everything he touched turned to gold. I was going to George Washington University at the time. When I come home for winter break, I would have a part-time job there at Central Virginia Processors there at the Dunnington factory. Where the time clock was a short wall, and in the corner there used to be this big box, about half the size of a refrigerator box. And on top of it was these old papers. And then one day, came back from lunch, the box was gone. Oh, they got it on the truck, they'd taken it to the dump. So I ran outside and stopped and said, hey, don't do that. Put it on my truck, I'll take it. And I've been processing them over the years. A good number of them were deposited at the Virginia Historical Society for 24 years there. Contracts for farm managers for all the different satellite farms he had throughout the area, including Poplar Hill. Tobacco correspondence with foreign countries, Norway, Italy, Austria.
Not only did he run his operations, but he also kept a good spirit with the other people who were doing the same thing as he was. They helped the town go from a little small country community to one of the leading communities in the area.
We would go out to Poplar Hill to visit my great-grandmother, and you'd take that main road that is used today to go to Hampton, Sydney. First floor was fascinating, but the attic was always something I gravitated toward, even my grandmother's house. When I went up there, there was lots of old clothes and a Confederate uniform. I'm assuming that that was my great-great-grandfather's uniform.
And what did your grandmother give you to play with for Monopoly games?
She had a trunk full of Confederate money. It was worthless. It's not worthless today, but yeah, we get out and have money and play stores and all kinds of stuff with it.
And think about playing hide and go seek in the house. Great house to do that. But I also remember as a 7-year-old, there were a lot of people. They were old. You had gray hair, and you had aunts trying to hug on you and all that. I didn't know who they were.
It was
was a happening. One of the most important things was being able to be with who I call my cousin, because it gave us a chance that we didn't have to see one another. The wonderful way that the help treated us young folks was warming, and it made us feel very special.
You always had lots of women out there managing things, but none of them had the finances or the will to take it over.
I'm Broll. I'm raised in farm, born here, and I guess we won't talk about the farm that we used to own. But my father was in sawmill business, and he came to me. I was still in school. He wanted to know what I was going to do when I got out of school. He wanted to know if I'd stay home and help him with it, if he thought. And I said, yes, I'll stay home and help you with it. And I was 17. I set my career right then. So be it. My father was a high spit. Well, I guess I was young enough that any place I went was home. He wanted a timber, and it had virgin timber on it, never cut over. Then he decided, well, he'd fix the house up, which he was fixing the house up and taking money all this time. He started cutting it in early 60s. And so we didn't really move there until 61. We ended up mowing the whole house except for the first front entrance. It was the only part of it that we didn't remodel. Well, one of my jobs was in the wintertime, we had 2 lanterns inside the casing that goes up to the top of the tower where they had the water source. I had to put oil in those lanterns in the morning and in the evenings to keep the pipes from freezing. And it doesn't matter what kind of weather it was, I had to climb that ladder to get that. 62 or so, 63, he finally finished cutting all the timber on that. Well, then he decided he's going to clean up the land. In 63, that's when he built the cattle barn. And we did that up till we sold it in 2000. He passed away in 74, and I was 29 at the time. And when he was in the hospital, he told me, he said, stay at home, stay on the farm, and don't worry about the sawmill, get rid of it. So I just stayed on the farm, and my mother was there, so more or less, she took care of the house and around the yard, and she liked garden. My mother was proud of the house. She cleaned that house, I guess, twice a week, and we was always having people coming by, want to see, curious people, and everything. And anytime they come, she was not bashful about showing them the house because she had it in perfect shape. Especially on Sunday afternoon after church, you'd be surprised how many vehicles would come down, just ride around and look. And my parents really didn't care because they was proud of what they had. The way it looks today is not the way it looked when we sold it. Just put it that way. That's what I'm trying to prove, yeah. That we didn't leave it like it is. At the time we left, it was, only thing you have to do is just like any place, any house, any farm, you got to do maintenance every year. That's a shame because now you look at it and you can't believe that the way it used to look. Something that really bothered us. Nothing ever was done that was told that they was going to do with it. We was told that it had a piece of equipment just waiting for the time to come out. They was going to start, putting a golf course in. They was going to do all the stuff that the house was going to be a country club or a bed and breakfast place or something like that, which never happened. But that's a shame because that's history. That's part of my life, I guess you might say.
Once I discovered the property and its amazing history, It also had the odd little quirk that it was on a championship golf course, which also made it very strange to have an abandoned mansion on a golf course. So I decided that the best way to maybe help save her was to form a nonprofit organization. Our initial goal was to make a website that just was a repository for all of the history. So if the worst came to pass and the mansion was torn down to make way for housing development, we wanted the history to be preserved. And the goal has evolved as we've gone through. We formed partnerships with Longwood University and John Flashel Photo to give house tours to raise funding, historical tours, and so it's really just morphed into a greater collaboration and joining of the Farmville community to bring awareness and exposure to the project. My personal dream for the property, would for it to be restored, so preserved, because it's very badly damaged right now. So if we could bring it back to its former glory, that would be part A, and then have that property be used for the greater good would just be icing on the cake.
And something done with it in the future, a group of investors or whatever, it would be a lot of outlay to get the home back in shape.
If that happened, and if it was in safe enough condition that those of us who do have a few things from Poplar Hill would return them to the home.
An important place for Prince Edward County. And it would be nice to uncover all that, restore it, and move forward and then support it in the future.
That was Virginia's Barren Estate, produced by, Virginia's Barren Estate, Poplar Hero, produced by Audrey, I cannot say your name, Audrey Behringer and Harper Melton here. So, without any further ado, let's hand out the awards in the documentary category. The third place winner is Behind the Art, produced by Vega Overstreet. Let's give Vega a round of applause here. Our second place winner is The Fifth Year, produced by Nicole, Ardvino, and Peyton Schaffer. And that means our top prize in the documentary category this year is Virginia's Barren Estate, Poplar Hill, produced by Audrey Behringer and Harper Melton. Come on up here. Woo! Tell us a little bit about how you came across this property and some of the challenges in telling this story.
So, I had some friends my freshman year who found Poplar Hill. They were just driving around trying to explore Farmville as freshmen and figuring out what was here. And I didn't actually end up going out there until my sophomore year. And I don't think the foundation had even really started up quite yet. And I didn't have any dream of doing anything with them until I reached out to do an audio story for them about a year ago. And it's just taken off since then. This is now my third project with them, and I'm happy that I've gotten to extend that to other, students here at Longwood. But really, I was just happy that I got the chance for you guys to see it. All I could have asked for if I didn't win was that you guys got the chance to see something that I feel like really matters in this community. And it's actually up for auction now, so if you guys know anybody who's super, super rich and wants to pay like $12.5 million to buy this place, it is up for sale. But beyond that, just knowing that you guys care and support it means the world to me. And would you say anything?
Sure. Since living here from freshman year of high school, actually, when we first moved here, we lived in, for a couple of weeks in the little cottages that they had there. And so I've always been interested in the manor there. And when I heard Audrey's pitch idea, I was like, I would love to work with her and learn more about it. So it's just been a great time getting to learn more about the history there and getting to actually go in the manor. So, yeah.
Job well done. Again, I want all of you to be extremely proud of yourselves and the amount of work you put in this semester, right? I, of all people, know this is not easy here, and even though we didn't get to watch all the documentaries you produced tonight, you should still be very proud of yourselves the amount of work you put in this semester here, and have those continue to live on. Make them public on YouTube. No more unlisted shit. I'll swear now. Get them public. Tell these stories. Get them out there and share them here, right? You put in the work. Now take the credit here. So let's give one more round of applause to all your submissions here tonight. I want, of course.
Dr. Schaffer,
Well, thank you. I appreciate that all, right? You will know all I love what I do here, and I love getting to see you put in the hard work and have these pieces come together. There were so many here during final judging where we got to see that second final cut. It's like, holy shit. Like, this has come together, and you have stories you can be proud of here. So keep that up. Keep that up. All right, YouTube, I want to thank my YouTube audience. Henry, are you still there? Shout-outs to past winners who are watching online and everybody else turning in. Woo! Oh, Michaela, thank you very much for tuning in. So next year, YouTube here, thank you again for tuning in to the Longwood Media Showcase. Good night and good luck. I guess we're doing Edward R. Murrow here. Thank you very much, YouTube. So two groups I want to report up to the stage here. Everybody in storytelling, 445. We need a photo, so come on up here. And please, all the winners also report up here. We'll get a second photo with you all and hand out some prizes. Thank you very much for attending. Job well done in the spring of 2023. And time to do some research tomorrow. Woo!